The chapter begins with a subordinate approaching Haschwalth, reporting, all members have been dispatched in 5 different directions to search for the enemy. Haschwalth, standing there deep in thought, responds, Wait, did you say 5 different directions? And you also mean that Uryu Ishida headed in one of those directions? The subordinate replies, Yes, sir, as per His Majesty's order. Haschwalth narrows his eyes and asks, Which way was he headed? The subordinate responds and provides Haschwalth with the exact location Ishida was sent to. Haschwalth gives the command, Follow him. I cannot leave Yhwach. Follow him and notify me immediately if he takes any action that deviates from his orders. Haschwalth then thinks to himself, How careless of him to come this far. He permits the subordinate to act independently, continuing, There are no unusual surveillance eyes to monitor him here in Yhwach. Now that he has gained approval, it's all too easy for him to handle a solo mission. Noticing the subordinate still standing there, Haschwalth says sharply, What are you waiting for? Move out at once. Before the subordinate can move, a sword suddenly pierces through his eye, causing him to burn. A figure steps into view, speaking coldly, Does Uryu Ishida bother you that much? Haschwalth turns to face the figure, calm but wary, and says, Bazz-B, what is the meaning of this? Bazz-B smirks and retorts, What is the meaning of this? Shouldn't your life be the first thing out of your mouth? With that, Bazz-B roars and charges at Haschwalth, using his attack burner finger. He grabs Haschwalth with one hand, but Haschwalth swiftly leaps into the air, throwing his cloak over Bazz-B and using his sword to push him back. The cloak now covers Bazz-B's body, but Bazz-B uses his flames to burn through it. Without hesitation, he attacks Haschwalth with a searing beam of energy. Haschwalth quickly dodges the attack, regains his composure and says coldly, I see now. Those wounds, they weren't caused by the enemy but by His Majesty's power. You weren't chosen, were you? Bazz-B harshly replies, What do you mean by you? You guys were the only ones who got chosen. Everybody below got consecrated. It was a massacre. The ones who managed to get away from the light and hide lost their standing, and those who got hit by the light lost their lives. Haschwalth responds calmly, I see. You have my sympathies. Bazz-B coldly snaps, Sympathy? Don't give me that bullshit. I'm pretty sure you knew all about it, didn't you? Haschwalth replies evenly, Is there any point in asking that? Would you even believe me if I said I didn't? Bazz-B grins darkly and says, Oh, I would. 'Cause we go way back, ain't that right? You know you? Haschwalth, standing silently for a moment, thinks to himself and then replies, Bazz-B? Bazz-B smirks and interrupts, Call me Bazz just like old times. In the next moment, Bazz-B unleashes another attack, Burner Finger 2, creating 2 swirls of fire that flare menacingly around him. Haschwalth, remaining composed, says, It appears this discussion will prove fruitless. Look outside. It's going to be night soon. Bazz-B narrows his eyes and retorts, When night comes and His Majesty sleeps, you and he will switch powers. I'm gonna kill His Majesty's power, and you along with it. You'll see it happen, won't you? Without wasting any more time, Bazz-B launches toward Haschwalth with his attack. Haschwalth leaps into the air, narrowly dodging the fiery onslaught. In the next moment, Haschwalth draws his sword, while Bazz-B creates a bow and arrow, aiming directly at him. As Bazz-B prepares to shoot, the scene transitions into a flashback. In the past, a young Haschwalth attempts to hunt a rabbit but misses his mark. Suddenly, an arrow flies through the air, striking the rabbit. A voice shouts, What are you doing? You're terrible at this! Haschwalth, just a boy, turns around and asks, Who are you? A young Bazz-B grins and replies, Hey, are you trying to make the great Bazz tell you his name first? You tell me your name, you white, onion-looking bastard. Haschwalth calmly responds, So your name is Bazz, then. He then introduces himself, I'm Yugram, Yugram Haschwalt. Bazz-B, caught off guard, exclaims, You must be pretty crafty to trick me, the great Bazz, into telling you my name first. You've got some promise. Haschwalt replies flatly, I didn't trick you. You just went ahead and announced it. Why are you following me? Bazz-B smirks and says, Why am I following you? A hopeless loser like you doesn't seem like he'd be able to catch his own food, so I'm looking out for you. What's that look for? Say something back. You're making me look like the bad guy here. Haschwalt, unbothered, responds, I guess you're right. I can't even make a bow and arrow like you. I really am a loser. Bazz-B, visibly annoyed, snaps, Yugram, you dumbass, that's not true. I can do this because I'm a natural. You're not as hopeless as you think you are. Don't worry, you're fine. Haschwalt replies calmly, but you're the one who said I was hopeless first. Bazz-B breaks his arrow in frustration and retorts, nobody else can do what I can. Look at your friend here. It's true, right? Haschwalt shrugs and says, who knows? I don't really pay attention to stuff like that, so I don't know. Also, could you stop calling me Yugram? I hate that name. Bazz-B, confused, asks, why? All right then, what do your parents call you? Haschwalt's expression darkens as he replies, I don't have any parents. I live with my uncle. Bazz-B asks, so then, what does he call you? Haschwalt replies curtly, it doesn't matter. I don't need to tell you that. Go on already. I have to catch a rabbit and get home. Suddenly, a rabbit carcass hits Yugram in the face. Startled, Yugram exclaims, what are you doing? Bazz-B grins and says, take it. I don't really hunt to eat. I'm a natural. The reason I hunt is to show off. Then, he tosses a badge with the letter B engraved on it and declares, Yugram, from today on, you're my sidekick. Don't worry about what the grown-ups tell you. I'll teach you everything you need to know. I'm gonna become the strongest Quincy, Yugram. Yugram stands stunned as Bazz-B walks away. Moments later, another figure emerges from the shadows and says coldly, I've been looking for you. You know it's not allowed to go this deep into the forest. You're nothing without me. Isn't that right, my precious Yugram? The scene transitions back to the present. In the present, Haschwalt and Bazz-B are locked in combat. Bazz-B blasts a hole through a nearby wall and sneers, You're calling this place Warvelt now? But this is just Silburn, isn't it? When the hell did the name change? Let me guess. You won't tell me, right? That's what you always used to say. Haschwalt, composed as ever, replies, Go outside. Continuing our fight here will damage the castle. Frustrated, Bazz-B intensifies his assault, advancing to Burner Finger 3. Flames rage as Haschwalt regains his composure and prepares for the next exchange. The scene shifts back to the past. Bazz-B sits in front of a burning castle, flames reflecting in his eyes. He mutters bitterly, 6 months after I met Yugram, the small castle my family lived in was burned to the ground. That was Yhwach's doing, a monster who ruled over the northern territories, not with a bow and arrow, but with some other mysterious power. They said he'd lived for over 200 years and was the progenitor of the Quincy. But I didn't give a shit about any of that. The flashback continues as young Bazz-B and Yugram stand together, watching the flames consume everything. I'm gonna kill Yhwach, Bazz-B declares. Yugram replies softly, Should I come too? Bazz-B scoffs, He burned your forest too, didn't he? If you want to sit around in the ashes with your uncle and wonder what to do, then be my guest. Yugram, his voice heavy with emotion, responds, My uncle died in the fire. Bazz-B says, We made a life for ourselves using some gold we dug out of the charred remains of the castle. We trained as hard as we could to kill Yhwach. Neither of us ever said it out loud, but we had silently agreed to join Yhwach's inner circle and then kill him. The scene transitions to 5 years later. A commander approaches Yhwach and says, A new combat unit, Your Majesty? Forgive me, but there is no longer any place left here worth conquering. Such a unit is unnecessary. Yhwach replies calmly, Not here. Our next conquest will be the Soul Society. The commander is visibly shocked. Yhwach continues, Defeating them will not be possible without a new power. The name of this unit will be the Sternritter. As the narration moves forward to the 5-year mark, Bazz-B reflects, For those 5 years, we didn't rest. We hid ourselves away deep in the forest, dedicating ourselves day and night to honing our skills. As always, I was a natural, but Yugram, he had none of the natural Quincy abilities. Even after 5 years, he couldn't gather spirit particles, and he still couldn't create a single bow. I'd heard of this long ago. A Quincy like Yugram was born every few decades. They were considered disabled and culled while still young. But no such Quincy had been born in the last few hundred years, so they had become something of a legend, like an old wives' tale. I started to think that having Yugram on my team might not help me in killing Yhwach, but even so, he worked harder than I did, whether it was with the bow or the sword. He was trying to make up for his lack of natural talent, and I just couldn't bring myself to abandon him. I don't know if Yugram himself realized that. The narration shifts to an intense moment. Bazz-B recalls, "Then the day came. We see a scene of chaos, a war unfolding, with people shouting and running. The tension in the air is palpable. Yugram and Bazz-B make their way toward a crowded area where a soldier is making an announcement. The soldier announces, 'This is a proclamation from Lord Yhwach.' The crowd is confused and whispers among themselves, 'The Yhwach military police? What the hell are they doing here? An order from Yhwach?' The soldier continues, 'Lord Yhwach has decreed the establishment of a new combat unit. It shall be known as the Sternritter. This exalted order of might has been created for the purpose of invading the Soul Society.' The crowd is stunned upon hearing the words invading the Soul Society. Murmurs of disbelief ripple through the gathering. The soldier explains further, 'Lord Yhwach believes that, if left alone, the Soul Society will eventually become a threat to us. Of course, there will be a rigorous examination prior to enlistment.' Haschwalt turns to Bazz-B and says, 'We saw their banners and followed them here. This is big news, isn't it, Baz?' Bazz-B stands there, excited and smiling. The soldier adds, 'However, should anyone possess a strong desire to fight on behalf of the Quincy—' Before the soldier can finish, Haschwalt notices something. Bazz-B interrupts, 'Let's go, Yugram.' The two step forward, standing in front of the soldier. Haschwalt hesitates, trying to stop Bazz-B, but Bazz-B boldly announces, 'I am Bazz-B, and the guy standing next to me is Yugram. We'd like to enlist in the Sternritter.' The crowd erupts in murmurs, shocked by their audacity. 'These kids are fools,' someone whispers. 'They're going to get themselves killed.' Another voice adds, 'Wait, isn't that Bazz-B, the son of the former lord?' Haschwalt tries again to stop Bazz-B, but the soldier ignores them and moves on. Bazz-B shouts after him, 'Hey, where are you going? Wait, I said I want to enlist.' The soldier looks back and says coldly, 'The exam will be held at a later date. An announcement will follow. Until then, keep training. Although I doubt the gate will be wide enough to let someone like you through.' Haschwalt sighs and says, 'Well, that's Baz for you. Shall we head back for the day?' As the soldier begins to move away, an arrow suddenly crashes near his horse. Bazz-B smirks and shouts, 'I just need to show you my skills, right? Let's do it, Mr. Secret Police. If I win, then I get your position.' The soldier turns back, glaring, and says, 'You mannerless ape. Does it take a duel for you to realize your own lack of power?' Bazz-B smirks again and retorts, 'An ape killed a member of the secret police? That's what your buddies are going to report to Lord Yhwach.' As the tension rises, both Bazz-B and the soldier draw their weapons and prepare to clash. But before Bazz-B can release his arrow, something happens. He freezes, thinking, 'What the hell is this?' A powerful presence fills the air. Bazz-B sees a figure riding toward them on a horse. It's Yhwach. Bazz-B is stunned. This spiritual pressure. He's forcing us all to our knees with just that. He's a damn monster. The soldier immediately bows and says, 'My deepest apologies, Lord Yhwach, for engaging in a personal fight with this low ape.' Yhwach replies calmly, 'As you were. I have come to claim that which I have been searching for, the one who shall become my right hand.' Everyone is stunned. Yugram thinks to himself, 'It's him.' He speaks up, 'I am here. I am the one you have been looking for. I will become your right hand.' As Yugram looks up, he realizes that Yhwach is not standing in front of him. Instead, Yhwach is facing Haschwalt. Yhwach speaks with authority, 'I know your name, Yugram Haschwalt, my other half.' Bazz-B turns sharply upon hearing Yhwach's declaration. Haschwalt, still processing the words, smiles nervously and says, 'Are you talking about me? I'm afraid I don't quite understand what you mean.' Yhwach cuts him off with an authoritative tone, 'You need not understand. You are to become my right-hand man and a member of my Sternritter." Haschwalt is stunned. The crowd around them is equally shocked. This is what we had always dreamed of, Haschwalt thinks, the goal for which we endured years of hard training. And he's just giving it to me? Still in disbelief, Haschwalt turns to Bazz-B and asks, "What should I do, Bazz?" Their eyes meet. For a moment, nothing is said. Then Haschwalt sees the expression on Bazz-B's face. Bazz-B speaks with an icy edge. "We were going to become Yhwach's right-hand men together and then murder him. I had the skill. You had nothing. Even if we couldn't achieve our goal together, if one of us were to do it, it would have been me." He clenches his fists and thinks bitterly. "So why is it you, Haschwalt? Why?" Haschwalt, noticing the anger and pain in Bazz-B's eyes, thinks desperately, "Don't do this, Bazz. Why are you looking at me like that? Why can't you just be happy for me?" Yhwach interrupts the moment, his commanding voice cutting through the tension. "We return to the castle. Prepare a carriage. I am taking this boy with me." A soldier bows and responds, "Yes, Your Majesty." Haschwalt hesitates and then says, "Excuse me, Your Majesty, but I think there's been some kind of mistake." Yhwach turns back, his gaze piercing. "You think, what?" A soldier steps forward, visibly irritated. "You've got some nerve, boy. His Majesty has granted you the honor of being personally chosen, and you dare to question his judgment." Haschwalt, trembling slightly, replies, "I barely even have the tiniest bit of skill as a Quincy. I can't even create a bow or arrow. I honestly believe that my friend Bazz over there would be far better suited to serve you than someone like me, Your Majesty." The soldier, enraged, rushes toward Haschwalt, shouting, "Are you still prattling on, boy?" Suddenly, Yhwach descends, and his overwhelming aura fills the air, silencing everyone. The sheer weight of his spiritual pressure forces the crowd to their knees. Yhwach steps closer to Haschwalt, his voice calm yet powerful. "It is just as my eyes have seen. You do not understand the nature of your own power. It is only natural that you cannot create a bow and arrow." Haschwalt looks up, confused and shaken. Yhwach's voice grows quieter, but no less commanding as he concludes, "You are the same as I, a Quincy with the power to share with others. I have searched long and hard for such a one. After all, a Quincy with the same power as mine has not been born in over 200 years, not since I myself came into the world." Bazz-B recalls the words he had once heard in the past about Quincy with such abilities not being born for centuries. Yhwach continues, "Yugram, Haschwalt, you are not like other Quincy. You cannot absorb spirit particles from your surroundings to make their strength your own. Instead, you can only share your strength with others. By allowing others to develop the power I granted them, and then stealing it back once more, I gained my own power. But you cannot even do that, can you? And yet, during the days you spent with this boy," he gestures toward Bazz-B, "you must have felt your own powers growing stronger. Did you truly believe that strength was your own?" Bazz-B is frozen, his mind racing as Yhwach's words cut deep. "You should thank him," Yhwach declares. "You were a powerless child, and he turned you into something greater. He turned you into a monster." Bazz-B is stunned to hear this revelation, unable to respond. Yhwach places his hand on Haschwalt's shoulder and says, "Let's go, Haschwalt. I have need of you." Suddenly, Bazz-B cries out in despair. His rage boiling over, he draws his bow and arrow, aiming directly at Yhwach. "Die, Yhwach!" he shouts as he fires. But before the arrow can reach its target, Haschwalt swiftly catches it mid-air and destroys it. The scene shifts back to the present. Once again, Haschwalt catches an arrow from Bazz-B with ease. Bazz-B leaps into the air, creating another fire-based attack and launching it toward Haschwalt. Haschwalt deflects the attack, sending Bazz-B crashing into a nearby wall. Blood spills from Bazz-B's body as he staggers to his feet, his determination undeterred. Haschwalt calmly says, "I think that's enough, don't you, Bazz-B? Nothing that benefits His Majesty can come of us fighting one another." Soaked in blood, Bazz-B sneers, "Nothing that benefits His Majesty? Of course not. I didn't come here for His Majesty's benefit. I came here to kill him, remember?" Bazz-B's anger reaches its peak as he advances his attack, unleashing Burner Finger 4. The flames twist and condense into a fiery sword. Suddenly, Bazz-B launches an attack toward Haschwalt, but Haschwalt effortlessly jumps into the air to dodge it. Bazz-B smirks and taunts him. "What's wrong? Bring it on! Are you gonna run away again? Scared of losing to me?" The scene shifts back to the past, where both Yugram and Bazz-B are now grown men. Haschwalt, maintaining his composure, says firmly, "Enough of this nonsense. Personal duels between Student Legion members are forbidden, punishable by death. No matter how many times you challenge me, I have no intention of fighting you." Nearby, a figure steps forward and speaks. "Has that new recruit been giving you trouble? Must be tough. Perhaps we don't command enough respect as captains of the Student Legion." The voice belongs to Vice Captain Herbert, who smirks and adds, "Perhaps so. I will try to follow your example, Captain Haschwalt." Vice Captain Herbert continues, "That new recruit, he's the same monkey from back then, isn't he? As excellent as he is, perhaps I should beat some manners into him." Haschwalt retorts coldly, "Personal duels between the Student Legion are punishable by death. Do you plan to die for a man like him?" The Vice Captain responds nonchalantly, "Mere details. If nobody is watching, even His Majesty will have no way of knowing." Haschwalt's tone sharpens as he boldly states, "I will be watching." Bazz-B, sitting nearby, reflects to himself, 3 years have passed since Yhwach spirited you away. In those 3 years, I earned a place in the Student Legion, while you became its captain. Or maybe you were appointed captain from the beginning since I wasn't around. At any rate, you kept evading every one of my challenges. Again and again, no matter how many times I tried to face you, you refused to fight me." His frustration boiling over, Bazz-B yells, "Quit running around and face me like a man!" The tension snaps as Haschwalt finally moves. In a single, swift motion, Haschwalt cuts through Bazz-B's arm and slices the building in half with the force of his attack. Bazz-B stares in shock but quickly grows serious, summoning all his strength. He activates Burner Finger Full and launches a blazing attack toward Haschwalt. Unfazed, Haschwalt simply cuts through the fiery onslaught with his bare hand. Bloodied and exhausted, Bazz-B collapses to his knees. Haschwalt moves to leave, but Bazz-B grabs his uniform with trembling hands, holding himself steady as he sinks further to the ground. Bazz-B, his voice heavy with exhaustion and emotion, mutters, "You beat me, Yugram. Damn it. Things never quite go how you expect, do they? I always thought I'd be more frustrated when you finally beat me." A sad look crosses Haschwalt's face as he turns away from Bazz-B, leaving him lying on the ground. Without a word, Haschwalt ascends the stairs, his expression unreadable but heavy with emotion. Behind him, Bazz-B lies on the cold ground, soaked in blood, his strength fading. As he drifts closer to the end, fragments of the past flash through Bazz-B's mind. Moments with Yugram, where they vowed to become the ultimate Quincy. Their shared dreams, their unbreakable bond, and their determination to stand at the top. But now, the reality is starkly different. Alone and broken, Bazz-B lies there, waiting for death to claim him. And with this, the battle between Bazz-B and Yugram Haschwalt comes to a tragic end.